We live in an age where those in power are openly using every weapon at their disposal to impose their will upon the future. Where the principles of authoritarianism and individualism stand in open conflict in the streets, in the courts, in the news, in everyday life. Where the choices we make and the choices that are made for us have consequences no one can foresee. You do not stand alone. You do not fight alone. You do not suffer alone. We are united. We resist. We are here with you. As long as there is a truth that remains hidden, as long as lies are spread openly, we will continue to speak out. We will continue to question. We will continue to be the united resistance.
What do you want to do now, Captain?
The same thing we always do. Fight them until we can't.
Yeah. That's what we're going to do, right? Fight them until we can't. I hope everybody's doing well today. You know, gotta love walking in, pulling notice to leave premises off the door. Gotta love that start. Just another day, right? You know, I love what this president's doing. Don't get me wrong. And I'll get to everybody in the chat in a minute. It's great to see everyone today. But you know, when do the people, the real people, I'm talking real Americans, not talking about the people that we're kicking their ass out. Thank God we're kicking their ass out. Talking about the illegals that are sucking everything up. Glad we're kicking their ass out. And bravo for the success in that policy in the first 100 days. But when do real Americans get the help they need? You know, there's a lot of us asking that question, and rightly so. You know, you go 12 rounds with this economy, you come out, cuts on your eye, bruises on you. It's brutal. It's brutal. Prices are going out of control. Gas has come down a little bit, which is nice. But everything else is an ordeal. I'm waiting for groceries to come down. And obviously, the elephant in the room, I think everybody's waiting for rents and mortgages to come down. They just raised the rate where I'm staying at in this hotel. And obviously, given the start to the show today, I'm probably not going to be staying here for very long past tomorrow. Looks like once I get home from work, I'm going to have to leave, which is going to be a whole nother can of worms because yours truly still has no way to get around. So it's back on the street. You know, you got to have a 2-income house these days, and it's unfortunate what happened with the missus to be, because boy, when you lose that second income, it's like taking a torpedo to the center of the hull of your ship. You're sunk. And well, all I can do at this point is hope for prayer and continue to give it to God, because I've exhausted every option. But anyways, I wanted to do this show today and talk about what's going on. And before I go on with that, as I said, I want to get to everyone in the chat. So hail to Helam. It's good to see you. Hail to our good friend Rita. I love you, darling. Great to see you. Cotton's in the house. Think it's wonderful to see you, Cotton. It really is, man. Thank you again for supporting the channel. And anytime I'm live, you're always here. I appreciate you. Tree Rock Creations is in the house. Great to see you, buddy. Thank you as well for just supporting the content and for being a good friend. That goes for all of you. It's been a minute since I broadcasted, obviously. I've taken every extra hour they could give me at work. I'm doing anything humanly possible to try to make it. So streaming has been, I'm sorry to say, a secondary priority. But I wanted to get back on the horse today, and I don't want to leave too long of gaps in between the content. So here we are. But going on the line of faith-based stuff, obviously the Pope died not too long ago. I wanted to give my thoughts on that. Let's start there. So Pope Francis, for Catholic people out there are going to say, oh, he's the Pope. He was a great guy. Stop. Full stop. The guy was not a great guy. He was a globalist. He was on team globalist. He was a globalist from the word go. In bed with the royals. In bed with all the people that wanted to push progressive agenda. Man, Ed is so far from the Church of Jesus's ministry that the Catholic Church had become the very antithesis of what it was supposed to be. I hope and I pray when they find a replacement that my former faith goes back to its roots, goes back to what it should be. Not only for people of my age and older, but for the younger generation that is coming in and is looking to somewhere to park their faith. Stop with the progressive BS. He's dead, he's gone, and let's leave the progressive BS dead with him. Which, by the way, he's certainly not anywhere near heaven. And in death, I'm sorry, I don't mean to disparage anyone, but I don't wish the gentleman to rest in peace. I wish him to go where his rightful fate belongs. And that's all I'll say. And that goes for all the Luciferians and globalists that infect our ministry. We move on to matters of politics now. The lawfare is continuing against the Trump administration because the activist judges are stepping in, trying to stop various executive orders on immigration. They're trying to stop everything that is happening. And this is the new way. These lower court judges decide that they have ultimate power. They can't get a hold of the administration any other way, so they're going to sit there and sabotage it through judicial means. And I've been very disappointed in justices like ACB and a couple other ones, because where is the Supreme Court in having the back of the administration on this stuff when clearly the administration's in the right? In most of the president's executive orders, they come on the side of common sense. They come on the side of common sense. Now, I don't agree with 100% of everything every day that the president says or does, but largely I voted for everything that's happening here, and so did the majority of this country. And yet you have pathetic sit-ins on the steps of the Capitol. You have vandalism happening at car dealerships, all because a guy, by the way, found your taxpayer dollars being misused, and that triggered people. How in the hell do you expose a crime, which we've known the government's been ripping us off for the better part of a century, but we finally get proof in front of our eyes, and yet there's some people that have been conditioned to be repulsed and triggered by that. 50 years ago, if you would have exposed all of this, people would have been celebrating in the streets. Overwhelmingly, people would have been saying, arrest the whole lot of the government. And that's exactly what would have happened. And now you've got about a 20, 30% minority of Americans that are completely ass over tea kettle brainwashed, that think somehow finding waste, fraud, and abuse is an affront. Did you ever think we would see the day where people say, "Oh, they've been stealing my money, but that's okay. Uh, it's not wrong. It's wrong that they exposed it." God. We could point to the larger picture of just how did we get here, but I think we all already know that. It's been years and years and years of psyops, conditioning, turning people's brains into mush and molding them into gaslight mannequins. Yep, we coined a new term. There it is. Gaslight mannequins. That's what it is. We now have a percentage of our neighbors that are gaslight mannequins, where they can actually believe that crime perpetrated against them is good. And it's so wrong to tell, "Oh, we can't tell the public that." Oh boy. Hail to you, Terminus. It's great to see you. Cotton, that's a big reason too, as well as the lamestream media has perpetrated this going back since they put CIA plants in every radio and television station. So it's sad. But I'm happy for it. But the greater thing to tie it back to what we were saying at the beginning. Hail, Dwayne, is we need some help and relief somewhere. And any president that takes office, you should take stock of what the pulse of your citizens are. There is really no reason to have millions of Americans without adequate places to live, working homeless, working out of their cars, living out of their cars. There's no reason for that. Whether, and I know there's been debate over the $5,000 checks, if it's a good idea, if it isn't a good idea, and everything else. But the money that's been stolen from us, yes, you should send some of it back. And we should see some back in our hands saying, yeah, hey, sorry for the years of robbing you. Here's some of your money back, and we won't do it no more. Maybe I do want to see that. For somebody that's stuck in a situation like mine and countless others, That $5,000 is a real life changer. So we will see. We will see. But there's no reason people should be walking into their house with a fucking eviction notice every other day. I feel for those that are going through it. I do. Because brother, sister out there that's going through it, I know your pain. At this point, there's no sense in carrying on, worrying anymore. I can live with myself knowing I've done everything humanly possible. I've turned over every stone. I've done everything I can to try and grind and stay and get ahead. And it's just impossible. I can only do what I can do, and that is work the job that I have, try to get another one, which has been minimally successful as I have no transportation. But at least I'm getting to the one that I have, working every waking hour. I can work extra there that they'll let me have. So that's all I can do. But without a second income, as I said before, the average American is sunk, and the lady of the house is not returning anytime soon. So screwed I am. Yes. Happy Star Wars Day as of yesterday, by the way, which nobody cares about anymore, by the way, because it's woke and gay. Hey, old Parrot Head. Great to see you, buddy. I love this audience, because all of you guys are just so helpful, so faithful to the channel, and I'm blown away every single time that I do this. There was a bit of debate today that I saw about weighing the conversation of getting involved with hitting the Mexican drug cartels militarily. I wanted to weigh in on that subject because I think that going after the cartels is a worthwhile goal. I think eradicating them is a worthwhile goal. The fentanyl problem is out of control. Now, the current city that I'm in, where this hotel is, I'm about 4 towns away from the original place that I was living all those years, where Mom's old house was and all that. My former hometown, that city, is now, and not surprisingly, it's a Democrat-run stronghold in our state. That city is now a shambles. The police force is understaffed, only takes select calls. There's rampant drug use, there's rampant homelessness, there is shootings and stabbings on a nightly basis. And for many of the residents, following the local Facebook group for that city, many of the residents are asking themselves, how did we get here? Which the obvious answer is, well, duh, you voted for this. But a Republican can't run in that city because they'll never win. People are so programmed to vote Democrat, they'll never win. Even though the majority of the city does not believe in the nonsense policy, but they still vote that way. I've never figured that out. Hail, Raquel. Good to see you, Raquel SSG. I haven't talked to you in a little bit, and I hope you're well. It's good to see you. Boy, you are spot on today, Cotton. You are on your game, buddy. That goes without saying as well. But it's a shame what my hometown has actually turned into. I mean, it's horrific. Every other day, somebody's posting in that group that somebody's dead or overdosed or what have you. I myself, I'd rather be stuck on the street in the current town that I'm in than try to ever make my way back home to my hometown. Because I go back to my hometown, I'll die out there. And that's not a stretch. It's sad. So hard to watch when you see what's happening to the country courtesy of bad policy and intentionally bad policy. They want, they want to destroy our country. It seems like it's been the wet dream of the globalists to just destroy our country ever since they came up with, post World War II. It's been ever since post World War II. This stuff started to take root. And it started off as subversives, and it just started to bubble to the surface little by little by little. Every 10 years it went by. And man, 70 years later, look at the state of affairs. Cotton says, Republican Democrat is only for us. It's to keep us divided and fighting while giving us illusion of freedom. There is no division in D.C. They're all on the same team, and it's not on ours. Yes. Aside of very few outliers, that is how the D.C. structure works. It's how it always works. Anybody that goes in that's an actual idealist, wants to make change, wants to help, they're buried. They're screwed. They're threatened within an inch of their life. They don't, you or I could run for office, folks. And we could go into D.C. ready to roll up our sleeves and raise hell and fix stuff. And we would get pulled in some room with a couple of government cronies, a couple of CIA or NSA cronies, threaten us and our families within an inch of our life and say, you play ball or you're dead. Or the other version, which is, okay, we're going to blackmail you and we'll find you in the most compromising position at any given time, and we will leak that to the public, and you will forever be ruined. Because that's the other way they do it. So, any idealists are immediately pulled into that scenario. As I started at the top of the show, everybody knows I'm not BSing. You saw the eviction notice. Anybody wants to help, they just raised my rate to $60 a day for the room to stay here. I mean, I'm going to be real. I have nowhere to go. There's nothing else to do. So, I do want to continue to keep my job, work, and try to pull myself up out of this. Any help is appreciated. If you want to help, just follow this link and you can tip. I'm not looking forward to coming home from work tomorrow, I'll tell you that. Cotton says 100, 100, 100. Yes. Rita says, yep, post-World War II, we have never had a good government in our lifetime. Correct. It is. It's been show government. Show government. They tell you what you want to hear. The government is always public facing. They're always telling you what they want you to hear. But they are never going to deliver because they're working against your interest. Any president wants to get rid of the Federal Reserve, guess what? They're dead. Any president that wants to go the gold standard, guess what? They're dead. Any president that wants to rein in big corporate pharmaceutical, big oil, they're dead. Not going to let that happen. And, the distraction techniques that Cotton was talking about, the roles, the teams, D versus R, he's right. Why do you think they divide you on religious lines, too? Christian versus Catholic, Catholic versus Muslim, Christian versus Muslim, Muslims versus Jews, Jews versus Catholic. That is a distraction technique. That is just throwing roles out. Why do you think that it's always race division, race war? Why? That's another technique. You get the citizenry fighting, they can never stand united. They can never build a hashtag united resistance. Because they're so busy being gaslit by one another because the media told them so, and nobody's paying attention. Or not enough people are paying attention. And then when we come and we tell people, I'm glad we're in the age of independent media and people are paying attention to us now, but not enough are. There still isn't enough people paying attention. There are many independent voices out there that you could go to. Mine, Wes, the bigger fish in the pond, even some of the ones just starting out. But do you really listen to what they have to say? I know you guys do because you're sharp. You're not controlled. But the majority that we see walking the streets every day, what are people doing? They're buried in their phones. They're buried in something else. They're not paying attention. And they're also not paying attention to the information that they're taking in and how they're influenced by the information that they're taking in. Maria, hail to you. I love you. So good to see you. You always bring me a smile when I see you. So good. And please support Maria's content on the Unlocking Lore channel, the Geeky Crochet. Please support her. She does great stuff. She makes cool stuff. She does so much cool stuff. Support her. She's a good person. As are all of you. And Terminus, I hope that you and I speak again soon, man. I miss you as well. But we're in a crisis, and not what the Dems say, a constitutional crisis. We are going to cause our own fall. I hope that you guys realize that. We are going to cause our own fall because we're being pushed to do so. We are doing the dirty work that the depopulationists and the globalist demons want us to do. And if you go from the standpoint of spiritual war, we're doing all the work that the evil one wants us to do because we're destroying ourselves. So many gas-lit mannequins just at each other, and nobody is paying attention. That kills me. You know, and for somebody that makes content to try to speak on these things and wake people up, it can be hella frustrating a lot of times when you're trying to bring truth to people and they cannot see it. You know, and I hope that people wake up, because it is not just a ideological war. It's not just a political war. It is so much more. It is so much a spiritual war. We're accelerating the end times clock because we're doing it to ourselves. You know, those of us that live morally and have a good core, we need to continue to lift up our brothers and sisters and do whatever we can to bring truth to people. I don't know how to go about that because everybody has a different skill set, a different talent, but we need to do that. Because otherwise, society, the way that it's currently constructed, we are just going to propel ourselves right into our own end times a lot faster. We are going the path of Sodom and Gomorrah, and that is not a stretch. Hail to Deej. Great to see you, buddy. I'm hoping that a lot of the Trump policies do lead to greater prosperity. I hope that they do. And I do believe in a number of them. I do, because that's what I voted for. You know, I think the tariffs are going to be effective, even though the proof is in the pudding that we are going to see a little bit more discomfort before we see uh, any relief. And I'm sure that all of you here, when you go to the store, you see that. It doesn't take a genius. We all see it price wise. And there's already companies trying to tack on tariff fees, passing it to the customer, which is a joke, by the way. I hate that companies are doing that. Amazon are complete dicks for doing that, by the way. But you know, at some point there has to be a reset. And I'm not talking about the Great Reset, because thank God Klaus stepped down, resigned, whatever. That twerp needed to go. And we need a cultural reset on the lines of, we need to bring faith back, we need to bring hope back, we need to bring back kindness. If those things come back, I see a lot of prosperity heading a lot of people's ways. Oh my gosh, yeah, that guy, he literally looks like a demon. Literally looks like a demon. It's not a stretch, Terminus. I saw the guy that replaced Klaus. But yeah, Rita, I feel positivity about them because it's going to level the trade playing field. But the problem is, for us, absorbing any extra costs right now, especially given the precarious situation some of us are in, the everyday person at street level, it's a killer. It's a backbreaker right now, because debt has risen across the board in this country like you wouldn't believe. I would say easily, it's not a stretch to say probably a good 7 to 8 out of 10, every 10 people is saddled with debt of $5,000 or more. And that's a small estimate. Probably more. I know I'm up in about 20, 30K of debt. And I'm sure there's plenty of people in that same boat. So, it's the debt situation is so bad for a lot of people. And, you know, one of the things you've never seen politicians come out against, and I wonder why they don't, and this goes back to Cotton telling you there are certain things the Uniparty will never talk about. Why do they not fix the credit system? Because guess who the last person that changed the criteria for the credit system was Obama. He's part of the reason we're in credit hell. Part of the reason why I, with a score in the 570s, can't walk into a bank and get a loan. Now, is that my doing? Yes, partly, but it's also his. He changed the whole criteria across the board. That's why people can't find an apartment. People can't find a mortgage right now. And I get it. You can't, it's not good business to lend to a horribly risky applicant. I get it. But there has to be an alternative market. There has to be a way to get these means to Americans, to everyday Americans. You know, the two most critical things people need: a roof over their head and a vehicle. So they need to do something about the credit system so that people can have access, because there are far too many people cut off from access to the most important things in order to make some headway in life. You know, and maybe it's because I'm living through it that I harp on this so much. That's part of it. But it's also going through just all of the ups and downs since mom passed away, the past 3 to 4 years, where it seems like I've had more peaks than valleys, or more valleys than peaks, I should say. You know, it's really opened my eyes to so many of the things we've been manipulated by. And what the comment that Deeds just made, they want to keep people in debt. They want to keep people in poverty, period. They forced the middle class out and brought in the working poor slash homeless poverty class. Because if you separate that gap between the haves and the have-nots, it makes for the elites to be in even more control. And that's precisely what they did. Again, if you want to help in the immediate, just follow this handy dandy little link. Tips go straight to the PayPal. Much better than super chats. And they get to me with immediacy. That way, as like I said, as I started the show, the eviction notice on the door, I won't be getting those. It's just, I hate living like this. I really do. It's not easy being on a 2-week pay cycle. And that week that you're not getting a check is more devastating than you know. But a lot of you live on 2-week pays, so you know exactly what I'm talking about. But again, thank you folks for being here. I appreciate all of you coming out, supporting the content in the channel. I don't know what I'd do without you. And I don't know what I'd do without your friendship right now, because, you know, I realized it, guys, and it hit home once she walked out the door about a week ago. Mom's dead. Dad's dead. grandparents are dead. Will has passed on. I don't have anybody locally anymore. I don't have any support network here any longer. I don't have anything here any longer. You know, it makes you ask a lot of questions when you don't have anyone left. You know, what am I really doing? Where am I going to go? Why? You know, how do I build a new support network? You know, my support network that's left is you guys. You're my friends. You know how awesome that is? From one sense, we've never laid eyes on each other, but the amount of genuine love and support that you've shown me as a person, you know, I'm not talking about monetarily or anything. You know, it might be picking up the phone, it might be reaching out off stream, but I'm really truly moved by so many of you that care, and a little caring goes a long way. So I thank you from the bottom of my heart for your friendship, because you know, I don't have anybody here anymore, that's for sure. So I thank you. Going off on all these tangents today, but well, we're closing in on an hour, and I usually go an hour and 10, but I was just going to say, you know, today is Cinco de Mayo. I hope that everybody is planning a good dinner within their means. You know, it's a Monday, but it's never too late for Taco Tuesday in celebration of Cinco de Mayo, or perhaps you're home and making your own margaritas, or perhaps you're drinking some shitty Corona beer, which I pity you and I pity your stomach, but you know, it is what it is. Drink Modelo, that's better if you can afford that. Um, the It's a good night for fajitas. But whatever you do to celebrate Cinco de Mayo, I hope that you guys have a great Cinco de Mayo. I'm going to just ponder whatever I can do to survive the next day. But whatever happens, if I'm stuck on the street for an extended period and I can't stream or anything, I just wanted to let you guys know that I do love and appreciate you all, and I will do an episode just as soon as I can. I will also get back to Midnight Prisms on Sunday nights as soon as I can. It's just things are not great right now. Like I said, I can't. I'm doing what I humanly possible can, but surviving on one income, it just isn't possible for me right now. I just don't make enough. That's the bottom line. So, I'm going to lose the battle here, but hopefully not the war. So I pray for you, all of you, and I will close with a quick prayer and just say, Heavenly Father, I ask that you continue to guide us, strengthen us, give us your wisdom, and inspire us to be the best people that we can. And I ask, Lord, that you bring us prosperity and divine providence. Amen. In Father, Son, Holy Spirit, amen. But I love and appreciate all of you. I will see you guys soon. Take care of yourselves and each other. Again, if you want to help, just follow this handy dandy link, streamelements.com/supremeheretic/tip. I get those immediately. It's better than super chats, and right now it's better than anything I can put up on GoFundMe, because at least I can get this room paid if something comes in that way. If not, again, it's appreciated, never required. I'm just happy to have you guys here. So anyways, I thank you. I will see you again soon. Take care of yourselves and take care of each other. All right. This time, hopefully, I'll hit the right button and we can go out with a nice outro. Take care. Peace.